a soulful lick for blues, jazz, and R&B that makes use of the C position of the major pentatonic scale. Looks and sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's break that down. Okay, a close look at the fretboard, getting started with a mini lesson that's going to show you some examples of how you can use the C position of the major pentatonic scale, in this case in the key of G, for soloing. Alright, so let's get started learning how to play the scale, and then we're going to examine what intervals are inside it. Okay, so we're taking this C shape that we have here in the open position, and basically just transposing it to the key of G. So moving the root note to the G note on the 10th fret of the A string, reposition our fingers so that it's a barred shape. We'll find that there's a pentatonic position that surrounds that chord shape, and that's why we call it the C position. It's called caged theory or caged system. Okay, so getting started with our pinky on the 10th fret of the A string. We're then moving on to the D string, 7 to 9, the G string, 7, 9, the B string, 8, 10, and the high E string, 7 to 10. Okay, this is the very important blues position that encompasses the very popular BB's box, or the BB King box. Okay, now let's talk intervals. A major pentatonic scale is really just a simplified major scale, in this case in the key of G. Okay, but the 4th and 7th notes of the scale are being omitted, making it a 5-note scale, or a pentatonic scale. Okay, so inside this pattern that we have here in the C shape, we've got the 1, you can also call that the tonic or the root, the 2nd, the 3rd interval, skipping the 4th interval, going straight to the 5th interval, the 6th, skipping the 7th interval and going straight to the 1 again. All right, then in the 2nd octave, same exact thing. The 1, the 2, the 3, skipping the 4, and going straight to the 5. All right, that sums up this position that we have. Okay, and one last little tip for identifying or being able to find a major pentatonic scale pattern on the fretboard is it should always sound like the main riff from the song My Girl. Okay, so there it is, the major pentatonic, key of G in the C position. That's going to be your source scale for today's lick, which is going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3. And I'll also give you a path back to the common position of the blues scale, which you should already be familiar with. Okay, so that lick began with this kind of pickup line that comes in right after beat 3 of a measure. So if you have a G chord playing, a 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Okay, so that was starting on the G string, 7, 9, B string 8, and then back to the 9th fret G string. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Okay, then moving on to the next measure, we're going to have the 10th fret of the high E string, and then slide to the 7th fret of the same string. Alright, from there, we're just going to arpeggiate the notes that we find inside of this C-shaped bar chord in the key of G. Okay, so we slid to 7, 8 on the B, 7 on the G, and then reaching your pinky to the 10th fret of the D string. So far you have. Alright, then you're going to slide up into the major third, 9th fret of the D string. Alright, and then finally, create a little harmony by grabbing the 8th fret of the B string. Alright, representing that G major chord. Alright, so you have the third and you have the root note here in the upper octave. Okay, put all that together and we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a. Okay, that's going to take a lot of practice, but it's a really flashy, ear-catching lick. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a. Okay, so now let's say you just pulled off that lick, but you're not entirely comfortable jamming in this spot, or maybe you have limited tricks in that area. So you want to try to get yourself back to your safety net, the minor pentatonic scale or the blues scale, in this case in the key of G. So one way you can do that is just use harmonies, descending back into that very comfortable area of the fretboard. Okay, so the lick dropped you off on 9 and 8 of the D string and B string. You can take that down a whole step. All right, then you can grab 5 and 5 of the same strings. And then you have two choices. You can slide 3 up to 5 and back down to 3, or you can turn it into a 3-note harmony, which is a very classic blues trick. Okay, so basically you're grabbing the 5th fret of the D string, 3rd fret G, and 5th fret B string, sliding that up as a triple stop, and then down one whole step. So then an extended version of the phrase could be, and 4 and a. Something along those lines to get you back to the open position G major chord, or the bar chord shape, or to the minor pentatonic scale or blues scale for a little bit more lead playing. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Remember to practice those scales: the major pentatonic, the 7-note major scale, both surrounding the C position of that G major chord. When it comes down to practicing the lick, remember, skill acquisition is all about slow, careful, methodical practice. So take your time. Speed is a gradual process, okay? All right, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Check back later this week for another song tutorial. I want to thank my patrons. Thanks so much for supporting the channel and making all these lessons possible. Enjoy your practice.